excuse me. Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What up, y'all? It's KMB, the sexy ninja, and the place to be for a Paper Saber universe. And this is the New World Podcast, brother. We're talking about Monday Night Raw, October 23rd, 2023. Michael Cole, Wade Barrett on commentary. We're in Dallas, Texas. So before we get this podcast started, I was asked a couple questions a while ago, and I usually don't answer questions unless, I've been wanting to do a Q&A for a while. Because there's so much like we can speculate on and anything like that going on in the professional wrestling world. But, like things like what if KMB was one of them, was like, well, not me, but it was like KMB, what would you bring back to professional wrestling if you could? And I thought about this question and I was like, well, if I could bring anything back, it'd be kayfabe. A little bit of it, not all of it, not going all the way with it, but a little bit of it. And what I mean by that is like, I don't know why, ever since the picture of Kenny Omega got it out there of him filming Don Callis and everything for their feud, going into Wrestle Dream and all that, just put a sour taste in my mouth. Just because I'm just like, man, like I understand that this is professional wrestling. This is all about, this is about a world of disbelief, and but you also want to believe that these rivalries exist for a reason and that they hate each other. So when we get to the match, you want to see the hero win. You don't want to see the villain win. You want the hero to win unless you are for the villain, and good guy, bad guy. Like there's a real thin line now between that. Like, it's like you have to be like, okay, no, they're semi-good. They're the Steve Austin. No, I think Steve Austin is one of those ones. Stone Cold is one of those characters that'll go down as the Punisher of the professional wrestling world. Like, he has to be good, he can be bad, but he will be Stone Cold Steve Austin, So I think a little bit of kayfabe in the world of professional wrestling, not, and I'm not knocking anybody that crosses the lines and stuff like that, because you got Xavier Woods' gaming channel, he's up, down, he's got other wrestlers that he's been feuding with on there in the pod, they're playing the video games and stuff like that, and, you see things like, oh, we're taking pictures and selfies on Instagram, it's like, back in the day when Ric Flair got in a big plane crash, they still kept kayfabe so alive that even though Ric Flair was in the hospital, he had his friends visit him, but they had to like hide and be like, oh yeah, we're feuding right now, so we can't, So I'm not saying to go to that extent, but ever since that Kenny Omega photo in Japan with him filming Don Callis for their feud, it just really did put a sour taste in my mouth. Like it was just one of those things that I feel like is kayfabe is necessary to a point, and especially in heated rivalries, like stuff that makes that crowd boo Don Callis. And if after that picture, it's like, oh, that made me like not excited for their match at Wrestle Dream. Let's put it that way. That's how much it broke me not as a fan, but as somebody it broke my disbelief that they hated each other, And then they went and filmed them Don, and I know this is a while back, but that's just one of the things that it still sticks with me to this day, apparently. Second question was like, what do I think about Tony Khan and his Twitter rants about WWE? I think he just should shut the fuck up. Whoever's his assistant or whatever, just tell him don't tweet out. It's called competition. It's called business, brother. It's one of those things where, yes, you had NXT face off against Dynamite, and NXT won. Why? Because you stacked the bill so high with the Cody Rhodes, John Cena, teasing of The Undertaker and all this stuff. Yeah, that's going to win. But also to call out, be like, you got The Undertaker, John Cena, you couldn't pull 1 million views? Okay, they were near that number, but, wow, such a shady bitch. I don't see you pulling those type of numbers, it's just one of those things where I like Tony Khan. I think Tony Khan has a better understanding of the business now than when he did, because I've seen old bookings and stuff like that, and, he's made some interesting choices, And now it's just one of those things where it's just like he takes it so personal. And Triple H ain't losing sleep. He understands. He that's the competition. That's business. Business is good. So why fuck up a good thing? They're going to be on Tuesday night. Okay, let me stack my Tuesday. And, he stacked his Tuesdays the best he could. Yeah, now he has Adam Copeland. He has Chris Jericho. Do they hold the same measuring stick as a CM Punk? Sadly, no. But I do like Adam Copeland. I do think, I was never the biggest Edge head. Never biggest Edge fan. I liked Christian and Edge. I love the tag team dynamic, but his last run in WWE was okay. I really wouldn't even call it a last run. It was just matches here and there. And when he did come back, the big, he had to have empty arena match with Randy Orton, and they were calling it the greatest match of all time and stuff like that. So and that's not on him. That's just timing of when the pandemic hit, and it's crazy. Hopefully this last run, we have this long-term storytelling of how he wants to get back with Christian and this and that. How can he change Christian back to the good side and stuff like that? But besides the point, those are one of the two questions. I have many questions that have been asked me because people always get my opinion on professional wrestling stuff or nerdy stuff. But yeah, I think Tony just needs to back up, not take it so personal. Business is business, brother. And it's one of those things where competition is competition, and it's been going on for years, especially in this sport of pro wrestling. And just imagine the backstage politics too, especially back then. So that's my advice to Tony Khan if you're ever going to hear this big head boy. Just don't take it personal. Do keep doing what you're doing, because I am a fan of AEW. I think too, with AEW, as harsh as I was on it, I didn't understand it until it's like you go to a restaurant and this restaurant has some odd things on the fucking menu and you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. Then you try it and you're like, oh, that tastes pretty good. Let me try that. Oh, wow. That tastes pretty good too. Let me try that. And you're like, oh, this is like my new favorite restaurant because these things are tasty. And it took me to that level, and I make jokes with Penta all the time because he doesn't like AEW, but it's funny. Is he'll say something, and I'm quick to be like, hey, don't talk shit about AEW. But back in the day, I was fuck AEW. Now that I understand it, and now that I found flavors that I like over there, like MJF and certain things and aspects that I love, like Aussie Open now is part of AEW. I got their shirt on the way. I just got in my All In Blu-ray that I'm so excited about. Shout out to Pro Wrestling Tees. It's beautiful. It's a nice package and everything like that. But now I got to own it. Now I can get rid of my bootleg version that I got off the interweb. So that's all I got to say on Tony Khan. Don't take it personal. It's business, brother. Okay? Now we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. The Judgment Day comes out. Finn, Damian, showing off the gold, showing off the drip. Damian's the senior Money in the Bank. But they're interrupted by Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes gets in the ring, and this all sets up a very interesting match at Crown Jewel. Cody Rhodes takes on Damian Priest at Crown Jewel. I was like, oh, okay. I thought we were going to get a rematch at Crown Jewel. But, Cody's like, hey, what's enough talking? And he takes off his tie, and he's like, we're going to fight. And, of course, here comes Mommy. Here comes Dom, the numbers game, and here comes Jay. And they didn't show this. This is where I was like, oh, they showed it in the replay. I thought it would have been better in more of the live reaction of it because he attacks Dom, then they quickly cut to Cody fighting in the ring and stuff like that. And then they do a playback later on, and then you see where Jay hits Dom from the back, and then he stops and looks at Mommy like, hey. And I was like, oh, that could have been caught on live television, not the playback. That is such a great moment. Cody, people were pointing out, even Jay, while his friend's getting attacked in the ring, he stops like, hey, Mommy, how you doing? But Cody Rhodes is taken out by Damian. They break his ankle. They take his ankle and smash it. Well, Damian smashes it with the chair into the steps. We go to the back, and it's Adam Pearce, Cody, Jay. They're trying to get him to the doctor and everything, and Jay's picking him up. He says, come on, Cody, you got this. Let's do this. Come on. We have our first match of the night, Alpha Academy versus the New Day. Tozawa's out there, and he is a junior cadet of the Alpha Academy. Welcome, Tozawa. I'm glad they're doing more with Tozawa. Like, after that last week, that little bit he did with the dance when it was like, Xavier's like, ooh, Tozawa, you nasty. You know, they even did it tonight, too. But Alpha Academy versus the New Day, fun match. This is the way you start out the show with two big tag teams like this. The New Day for the win. You know, I was like, I want to see Alpha Academy get back on the ranks, but the tag team division is heating up, and I want to start splitting away from, like, now that Cody is going to be facing Damian in the singles match, now that just means there's more opportunity for those tag team titles to be defended. And from what I was reading too, is that they're looking to finally split the titles again. You know, kind of like how they did with the main championship, the WWE championship and the World Heavyweight Championship, everything like that, you know, Universal Championship, how they kind of just split them back up, and now Seth's got one, Roman's got one, you know, even though it's like, his title makes me laugh because it's like the undisputed Universal Championship, and, you know, he's Universal, he's the Universe's champion, and then you got Seth, who's the world champion, you know, but splitting up the tag team belts, I'm all for it if this gives more opportunity for tag teams to shine. You know, I'm all for, like, when new titles come around, especially like when the women's tag team title came around and everything like that, like, it was one of those things where I got excited because I was like, okay, there's pairings we can get to. There's also opportunities that can happen in the tag team division, because tag team wrestling, the fact that we got the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens WrestleMania Night 1 main eventing, awesome, man. I love a good tag team match. That's why I'm such a big fan of, like, Aussie Open, and I wish, hopefully one day when their contract's up, they come over and they get in this tag team division, you know, because I think Aussie Open's great. I don't know why I'm talking about tag teams, yes. So there's a lot of great tag teams out there, and we're slowly, like, if they split those titles, more opportunities for everybody. Jackie's backstage with the man, and in the background, way in the background, you see Xia Li watching on. What is her problem? is my takeaway. What is her problem? She's just been showing up, and I think Triple H is trying to make her as the next big threat to Becky, and that could potentially be our next NXT Women's Champion. So, but Jackie's with the man talking about their match with Indy Hartwell. She's like, hey, you know, you give all these opportunities, even tomorrow night on the NXT Halloween Havoc, you're putting up that championship. And she's just basically like, hey, I'm the man. I'm a fighting champion, and that's what I do. Seth is backstage, and Rhea's been all over here tonight. Mommy. And that's why I like what Cody Rhodes said. I was like, hey, where's Rhea Ripley, the leader of the Judgment Day? I know there's no leaders, but come on, let's be honest. Mommy. So she's backstage. She's trying to cut deals with people. She's trying to cut deals with Seth. And, you know, and she brings up, like, hey, you know, if you help us, you know, we get rid of this Drew McIntyre problem. You know, you could be the champion. You know, you can be acknowledged, you know, unlike the other guy, you know. And Seth's like, hey, I don't want to be nothing like Roman Reigns. But this little back, it was nice seeing Champ and Champ together. You know, that's why I picked it as a thumbnail for the show, because I was like, oh, look at the champs right there. Those are my champs, baby. Rhea Ripley and Seth freaking Rollins. But that was a really nice interaction where Rhea's trying to, you know, cut these deals with the bloodline. Even I like what she said. She's like a mob boss. She's like, yeah, we cut deals, but guess what? Deals change. So come on, Seth, think about it. Indy Hartwell's backstage with Candice, and here's super nice Natalia for some reason. She has a tag team match now, but she's like, hey, good job, guys. She went from being like really bad to, like, now just like, hey guys, I'm here to help y'all. You know, good luck tonight. NXT Women's Championship match, Becky Lynch versus Indy Hartwell. Lyra's in the crowd. She's watching on, and this is one of the things that I brought up last week about Becky Lynch handing out these championship matches like candy, to where I just can't believe or try to believe that Indy has any chance to win that championship. And guess what? She didn't. Becky Lynch won. This was a great match. This was a fun match. Really showcasing Indy Hartwell, you know, got a little bit of respect at the end, the handshake and everything like that. But it's just one of those, and Candice LeRae's watching on, in the back. And, it was just one of those things. I was like, yeah, I knew Becky was going to win this. Like that's where it's like, that's what I mean. She's handing them out too easy. She's like, oh, you want a championship match? Well, you've never lost it, but we're not really showcasing Indy. You showcased her here in this match and showed what Indy Hartwell can do, but we need to have more of Indy Hartwell to, maybe have her get back. And I don't want Indy Hartwell going back to NXT. I want her to be the next women's champion on the main roster because I love Indy Hartwell and I think she has that opportunity to do that. But, the rivalry between Becky and Lyra is personal. And that's why it's like, I like that story. But also, too, you have Indy that has a championship match on Raw. So now I know that she ain't going to win. That was my hang up about this. But after all this, after Candice is watching, Xia Li attacks and says, hey, that's for Indy too. Bitch. That's what I got from Xia. Contract signing, the Fatal 5-Way at Crown Jewel. Rhea Ripley will face Nia Jax, Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, and Shayna Baszler at Crown Jewel for the championship. Everyone but Rhea comes out because Adam's trying, he's in the backstage at certain points. He's like, hey, I want a double security. I want to do this. I don't want this fatal fight. You know how contract signings go. And Rhea's not out there. And even Nia Jax was like, hey, where's Rhea? And Adam's like, hey, we know how these things go. She's not here right now, but there's a reason for that. So everyone needs to calm down and blah, 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 blah. And, and here comes Rhea being the instigator and everything like that. And Rhea cuts a great promo about her being on top of this division and everything like that. Nia Jax starts jabbing. Oh, you want me to smash this person for you, huh? And it ends up in a brawl for all. We have a really great spot with Raquel and Nia Jax face to face trying to take each other out. But Raquel does not win that battle. And the best part about this is Rhea's just watching on, just like, yeah, y'all kick each other's asses, please, while I watch on. Vinci and Kaiser are in the back, and Bronson Reed interrupts. He's like, hey, you gave your boy gave me a really good match and everything like that. So, and he goes, just tell him that. And then they're like, Ludwig's like, you tell him. Peasant. And the Bronson Reed's standing there, and here comes Tozawa. He's our junior cadet of the Alpha Academy. He wants to prove himself in the Alpha Academy. So he goes up to Bronson Reed and he says, I want a match. And Bronson's like, hey, I'm not in the mood tonight, okay? And then Tozawa chops him and he says, I want a match, and then Bronson Reed's like, all right, your funeral, Max. He's like, what did you do? And everything like that. So that was a fun spot on the show. I really did enjoy that. Next up, we have Johnny Gargano versus Giovanni Vinci, and this match was fun. Ludwig is trying to get involved so Vinci can win because Gunther told him, like, hey, Vinci's your problem. If Vinci doesn't get the job done, Ludwig, you're in trouble. So Ludwig is trying to get Vinci a win, but here comes Tommaso Ciampa. He comes out, giving Johnny Gargano the end to win and showing that DIY is back, especially with Ciampa rocking that DIY shirt, showing us, like, yes, DIY is back, baby, and that just means great tag team matches are in the future. Shinsuke Nakamura promo. I love the fact that he's speaking in his language, and you got the subtitles. We did this with him and Seth, and this is great because, like, I'm like, yeah, give me that. So cinematic. He's such a villain, and saying, like, I'm waiting for someone to pull the monster out of me, basically, and everything like that. And I'm just like, oof, that's just such good shit. Logan Paul comes out. He's got his match against Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel for the United States Championship, and here comes Dominic. Not to interrupt, but to get a little bit of rub from Logan Paul, So Logan Paul's out there. Dominic, he's getting booed and shit like that, and Logan's just like, hey, don't disrespect Dominic and everything. But that crowd is not having it. But my favorite thing about this was Logan being like, cutting into an old rivalry that we know that's not done after he beat Ricochet and everything like that, is when he goes, hey, Samantha, Ricochet's fiance calls her. Is like, come on. You know, she's so great, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't you give everyone a sneak preview of when I win the United States Championship? Come on, Samantha. And she's like, no. And here comes Ricochet trying to take out Logan Paul and everything like that. You know, got Dominic outside of the ring and everything. You know, that... I was like, oh, man, that's double storytelling here. And I will tell you, Logan Paul, when he first came out, I don't even know who the fuck he beat, you know, at the boxing match or whatever. You know, I don't even know who the guy is, but to go and throw some shade at him, be like, hey, I heard his his people dropped him and stuff like that, but too bad. You know, I was like, ooh, Logan's just going full on, like, I'm the heel, and I'm going to be the best heel I can. And what do? You get some outside stuff from his life and bring it into the WWE. And I like WWE Logan Paul. Outside of WWE, can give two shits less. Like I said, I don't know who he beat. I'm not a big boxing person, so, but to throw shade like that, I'm like, that's true heel status. Reviving the Ricochet Logan Paul feud, and possibly Ricochet causing Logan Paul not to beat Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. So that's a lot of stuff that could happen at Crown Jewel. Chelsea Green, Piper Niven versus Natalya, and just a very strange Nikki Cross. Here comes Nikki. She's just walking out there, and she leaves. You know, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven for the win. And yeah, Natalya's like, what's going on? I was very confused by this. I was like, what are we doing with Nikki Cross? She's been in the background, yeah. She's been there. She's crazy. She's insane. She was a superhero once, blah, blah, blah. You know what's crazy about Nikki Cross is that she's a former women's champion. That's bizarre. Bizarre. When I see her act like this and everything like that, I'm just like, wow, you were a former champ. You know, as that superhero character, I really didn't care for, but you were a former champion. You know, it's like that title run is like dust in the wind now. And I feel bad for Nikki because I like Nikki Cross. You know, let's get her back to being the badass, like crazy, like, and make her seem like a champion. It's like Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan became a champ. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Then it just kind of fell flat, you know. So I just feel bad for Nikki. I think we can do more with Nikki, but her just coming out blank stare, standing on the edge, and just leaving, you know. Jey Uso's backstage. He gets interrupted by Drew McIntyre. Jey Uso, you know, Drew's like, hey, you know, whatever happens to Sammy is on you. And Jay's like, yes, get out of here, fool, you know. And Drew is on a tear to get to that championship. He wants the heavyweight championship. He wants to beat Seth. And he's adamant about doing it. And then we have Adam backstage and The Miz. Can I get some Adam's face? Like, hey, I've been cut off with TV time and everything like that. Like, what's going on? Why am I not on the show? Then here comes Rhea, signs the contract, gives the contract to Adam, and my favorite part, she's like, I'm keeping the pin. And Miz is like, wait, why is the camera what was going on? You know, Miz game throwing some shade again. Here comes Dom and says, "Oh, my chin, mommy." And she's like looking at it and everything like that. She goes, "Oh, let's go get some ice on it." You know, that sweet, beautiful face of yours. Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. Awesome match right here, man. But of course, interruptions. Rhea Ripley comes out, you know, and causes some distraction. And, you know, yeah, got Drew the win. But this was a really good match, showcasing, too, that Sammy wants to be a singles wrestler. He wants to get back to that main event status himself. You know, he wants to go against a Roman Reigns again. He wants to go against a Seth Rollins. He wants to get... I hopefully one day we do get a Sami Zayn run as champ. That would be awesome. You know, because I think that man deserves it, because Sami Zayn is such a workhorse, especially in this business. I hopefully one day he does become a world champ in WWE. But Drew McIntyre got the win, and he walks out and everything like that. Then we have Nick Aldis backstage. He's talking to some teams and whatnot. And Adam's like, yo. Adam Pearce is like, hey, I know, you know, we met backstage and everything earlier and blah, blah. You said you're just, you know, I'm letting you stay for the show. You know, this is the flagship and everything like that. But I didn't tell you to go poach my, you know, my talent and everything here. And Nick Aldis was like, oh, come on. You know, being smooth Nick Aldis that he is. He's like, oh, come on, man. I'm just talking. And then he's like, yeah. He goes, but, you know, I'm going to go. And Adam's like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Building this rivalry all the way to Survivor Series. Nikki Cross then just walks across Adam. I was like, I need a drink. I thought that was fun. Bronson Reed versus Tozawa with Maxine on Tozawa's side. Bronson Reed with the tsunami. Oh, poor Tozawa. I was like, you poor bastard. Looking great. Like, there were some really fun spots. But, man, poor Tozawa. We have Alpha Academy backstage with New Day. You know, Tozawa's back there. And he has the ice and everything. Maxine's trying to hold him up. And they're like, hey, man, it's okay. Chad's like, it's okay. We'll get you back up there, buddy. Don't worry. We'll get you back up there. And, you know, Tozawa's like, okay, you know, sad and everything like that. So, Tozawa, but here comes DIY, you know, and Tozawa did his little dance, though. He did his little dance, and once again, Xavier's like, nasty, Tozawa. But DIY interrupts, is like, hey. It was funny, it's like Xavier Woods like, yeah, this is what we do in the back. This is what we do in the locker room. This is how we talk. But DIY, just seeing like Alpha Academy, New Day, and DIY, I'm like, man, this is a stacked tag team division. And you got Street Profits, and you know, the tag team division is looking really great. So, but Drew's backstage, he's walking. Seth's there, gets in his face, and you know, Seth is trying to be Seth, like, my song and everything like that. And Drew's like, hey, I don't care. I'm going to kick your ass at Crown Jewel. I'm going to win that championship. Very, very intimidating indeed. And I'm like, ooh, Seth, you're going to have a match at Crown Jewel because I feel this Drew is laser focused on getting to that championship. So we shall see. Crown Jewel's basically, no, not this weekend, but next weekend. Then we have Halloween Havoc tonight. Then we got Halloween in a week from now. Shit. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jey Uso versus Damian Priest, our main event. Damian Priest for the win because of distractions and everything like that. Finn Balor coming out, and Cody comes out, you know, on one foot afterwards. This match though with Jey Uso and Damian Priest was a lot better than I expected it to be, because when I was like, this is the main event, all right, I guess, but no. This was a good showcase between the two, and they had a fun match, you know, interruptions and all. Cody coming out there though afterwards, to start swinging on Damian Priest, and yeah, Cody one shoe, sock, and everything wrapped up, and he's like, hey, this is the way we're doing this. This is the way it's going to go down, and this is the way we end the show with Cody Rhodes standing tall. He's going to take on Damian Priest at Crown Jewel, and with this match between Jey Uso and Damian Priest, I'm like, you know what? That's probably going to be a banger. A banger, ladies and gentlemen. A banger, folks. There was a lot going on this Monday Night Raw. Honestly, like, there was my favorite match of the night was let's see, I got Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. Next up, Becky Lynch versus Indy Hartwell. Alpha Academy and New Day was just fun. I gotta say, Jey Uso and Damian Priest. Yeah, there's a lot of great matches here tonight, but there was a lot going on, especially to build the Crown Jewel. And we still have Survivor Series around the corner. And we got Halloween Havoc. So I honestly give this show a solid 4 out of 5. You know, and Tozawa's a junior cadet for the Alpha Academy. I'm for that. Give more Tozawa, more TV time. Tozawa is money, in my opinion. All right, y'all. Tell me what you thought of the show. Drop those comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you not like? What did you like? You know, tell me. Because we're pro wrestling fans here, folks. That's it. That's all. Share it with your grandma. Share it with your grandpa. Share it with the bum down at Walmart. And remember, I am KMB, the Sexy Ninja, and also that the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Cody's cornered with Rhea and Dominic making their way out here as well.
Like I said, take the L and move on.
And wait a minute, from behind.